Do you know that you have a money personality style? Or you have no idea? Everyone has some type of personality when it comes to money. And today, I'll be talking about that. And why these money personalities are the reasons why you're either rich, wealthy, or broke. Stay with me. Hi, I'm Miss Muithathi and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be giving you 5 personality types, and according to what I'll say, you'll sit there, figure out which personality you have. That is, if you don't know your personality type. Okay? And you might find yourself having 2 or 3 personalities, but for you to figure out your personality, find which one you lean more towards. Without beating around the bush, let's go straight to the personalities. Personality type 1 is the tightener. The tightener is the one who has like a scarcity mindset. You know, when you have a scarcity mindset, most of the time these are the people who are hoarders. They don't want to let go. They're always holding on tightly to everything because they just feel these things are scarce. Okay? So they'll lean more towards hoarding than earning. You'll find these individuals taking up or using a lot of energy holding on to something that they have rather than using that energy to go and make more. So these are the people who neglect income, or they'll not find ways to make more money or to build more income. And because they are a hoarder, they will not invest. Most of them, they save, they don't invest. So they won't invest in things like education, or put money in something like a money market fund. They will not invest in things like networking, things that will grow them. And they will also not invest in better opportunities. Because, as I said, most of their energy, they're using it to do what? To hold on to that little thing that they have. The small amount of money that they have. So if they have that 1 million Kenya shillings, they will not use it, it will not grow. Okay, and these are the people who put their money in like a bank account, a savings account or a current account. Alafu, at the end of the day, is affected by things like inflation. These are the same people who miss deadlines, paralysis by analysis. They analyze a lot of things, overthinking. At the end of it all, you put so much energy in one thing that you're paralyzed. You don't even know. You can't even move forward. It will take you time. Even if an investment opportunity comes along, you're paralyzed. Because you're busy trying to analyze everything. You'll also be paralyzed when it comes to necessary purchases. Because, according to you, you're waiting for a certain time where the price will drop, or there'll be an offer, waiting for that perfect price that might never come. This is the tightener personality. They are the same people who will be in strained relationships. Watu gati ngumu. They cannot give you even 1,000 Kenya shillings for you to go and have coffee. And because of this, it will cause conflicts between you and your partner, or your family members, even your friends, because you're a hoarder, you're stingy. What you don't understand is, at the end of it all, it will cost you more when you're separating or disagreeing with these people, or you're going different paths, or you'll find yourself emotionally spending. For example, if you are in a relationship and you broke up, You start spending the same money you refuse to give this partner on unnecessary things. Emotional spending by others just to escape your control. The tightener is still the same individual who will find when they're buying something or purchasing something, they go for the cheapest option. They will never number one, bargainers. Thus, if you bargain a lot, you're a tightener. Problem with buying the most cheapest stuff, like for example gadgets and whatever, it's expensive because these things are of low quality, meaning you'll go back to purchase something else very soon. When you buy something that is of low quality, be ready to buy it more repeatedly. So whether they choose to see it or not, this leads to higher long-term costs rather than buying one durable item. It's expensive to be a tightener, okay? When you have a scarcity mindset, you lose more. Whatever it is that you're trying to hold on to, you're actually losing more without you knowing. By refusing to spend your money or invest, you're actually losing money by doing nothing. The same people, the ones with the scarcity mindset, are the ones who don't even ask for a raise at work. And this is because they avoid negotiating salaries. So at the end of when you put them all together, the amount they leave on the table, lifetime earnings, something else. So you're just losing. At the end of the day, being a tightener, you're just losing. No matter how you look at it, okay? Even these cheap things you go for, let's say you don't even, maybe it gives you service for some time, but it will spoil. So there's maintenance fee, because these things don't come with guarantees. So there's price that you will pay for repairs, replacements, and stuff like that. Now, let's go to the second, money personality. This is the expander, the hedonic treadmill. These are the people, every time they get a raise or they receive money, they have to expand their lifestyle. Their expenses rise immediately money comes in. You get a raise at work, your lifestyle increases, your expenses increases. You know, these are the people at the end of the day, they have nothing left, because they are matching. Every amount of money coming is matched by a certain type of expense, leaving you with zero surplus. You'll never have anything. And that's, a lot of people live like that. That's why you find someone, maybe they're driving, they're living in a nice place, they dress nice, they look nice, they have a nice job, but they always have nothing. Because these are the expanders, okay? They are still the same people who spend money based on how they feel, okay? They are busy prioritizing dopamine hits. They want to feel nice. They want to give thanks to themselves. I want to be around people. I want to look like I'm spending. I want to spoil people. It's all about dopamine hits. The highs. So their money goes to spending on these highs instead of going for something that is going to help them, like long-term financially. So long-term financial stability is not on the list for them. They are the guys who live for the moment now, okay? Let's go out now. Let's have fun now at the expense of the future. These are the expanders. They're still the same people, like in other countries where there's credit, they use that credit card, to fund their lifestyle. And remember, this is the lifestyle that they can't afford. That's why they're using credit. Because if they could afford it, they would not go for that credit, right? treating future income like it's already in your pocket. Huh? These are the daydreamers. Fantasizing. Not doing anything about the future. Just fantasizing. And you know fantasies, they're never true. That's why you always find them in debt dependency, always depending on debt. In Kenya, you'll find someone, they're willing to go out. Besides, see, they'll just fuliza. So what's the big deal? They can just fuliza, or this other one, mshwari. I think so. I don't do mshwari and fuliza, so. But now, imagine someone living like that, because there's plenty of people who feel like, my limit is a bit higher. I'll pay using that, and then my next salary will pay back the mshwari of the fuliza. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not. Yeah, I think that's the name. That's what they called that, mshwari and fuliza. At the end of the day, even if, let's say, this is debt they've taken, when they are paying this debt, or when they are stressed about this debt, when you ask them, like, really, what did you use this money, for? What did you do with this money? They can't be accountable. Okay? And this is because most of the time they're spending this money is based on their emotions. It's not about logic. It's more being emotional. And this doesn't just happen to women. Men tend to think that women, we are the ones who are emotional. No, even when you go out and you guys are having fun and you end up paying drinks and nyamachoma with fuliza or mshwari, that's an emotional decision. That's not you being logic. Okay? So it can happen to the best of us. It can happen to anyone. Remember, lifestyle creep is real. Okay? And the expanders are the ones who fall victim for lifestyle creep. Do you know 78% of people who get an increase in their salary or get a raise, majority of them spend it before even they see it. So by the time that amount comes, or they receive that amount, it's just slashed. They don't even see it. It disappears into something that they spent money on. And this is because your brain, you've taught your brain to normalize luxuries instantly. So happiness fades, but debt remains. Interest is compound poverty. This category of people, the expanders, they fund the banks. Okay? They fund SACCOs. They fund the Akina M-Shwari. This is the M-Pesa. They fund those entities. They fund Akina. It's called who? Tala and Branch. They are funding those entities. Of course, with the interest they pay when they borrow this money. They are not funding themselves, their future. They are funding these entities. So being an expander is very dangerous. And this is because they've prioritized dopamine over security. As you all know, neurologically, spending money triggers a dopamine rush. You feel nice when you buy yourself that expensive shoe, that nice car. It's a dopamine rush. But what you forget is, it's a pattern. Okay? In life, there's highs and lows. That dopamine rush you're feeling, you won't feel it forever. Okay? That rush fades within hours. So ask yourself, is it really worth it? Because if you're not careful, this dopamine rush, you chasing that hit, might lead you into a cycle of chasing something they call happiness with purchases that you can't afford. That's the expander for you. Now 3, the third personality type, the harmony seeker. This is the conflict avoider. These are the guys who say yes to everything. there's a trip to Mombasa, to Naivasha, to Dubai, they don't say no. They say yes. They'll even take up a loan to avoid conflict. They'll go to extremes of draining their bank accounts just to maintain, in their mind, at peace. Okay? These are the harmony seekers. In short, these are people who are not able to set boundaries. Okay? Because saying no is you having a boundary. Okay? Or you having a backbone. These are the people who don't have backbones. They don't have boundaries. The yes people. Whatever you say, yes. Okay? Because they want to look like they are good, they're okay, they want to maintain peace. So they won't say no to you, to their partners, to their children, to their parents, to their friends. But little do they know that later in life, this saying yes every time will lead them to resentment. They will either resent themselves or resent these people around them just because they find themselves in financial depletion over time. They are still the same people who will refuse to negotiate salary or be afraid to ask for a raise. Okay? Because they like peaceful moments. Okay? They don't want to rock the boat. They feel like if I go ask for a raise, I'm afraid of looking like I'm being confrontational. I don't want to confront anyone. I don't want people to think I'm greedy. This is the harmony seeker. You will always be under earning. You'll never make enough. And even if you have a good paying job or you have a business, you'll never grow because you're always giving out money. You have no boundaries. Your responsibilities are diffused. You find yourself merging finances without something like a clear agreement. You're there assuming someone else, I don't know who, but in your mind, there's someone else who's managing the budget when in reality, no one is. Let me tell you, these harmony seekers, what they don't understand is that financial infidelity is very costly. When you keep avoiding conflicts, it will lead you into secret debts that will, over time, destroy your wealth and your relationships. Because now, for example, if you can't say no, I come and ask you for something. Maybe you don't even have it. But because you can't say no, you go take a loan, or borrow somewhere. This life, the way it's unpredictable. You never know how you'll pay it or if you'll be able to pay this loan. Things happen. If you're in a relationship or marriage, you hide these debts and loans. Come to think of it, being married to a harmony seeker is very dangerous. Because this is where you find your spouse took a loan somewhere and then eventually you people are in so much trouble because they didn't communicate that with you. Just because they couldn't say no, biting more than they can chew. So you find yourself destroying wealth and relationships with people who are around you. These harmony seekers don't know that the word no is a financial tool. They prioritize social approval over compound interest. Are you a harmony seeker? Well, figure it out. Next, this is the peaceful saver, the risk averse. Slightly more like the tightener, but a bit different. These are the people who avoid risks at all cost. Okay? Whatever cost, they are not risking. They'll not risk, they will not invest, they'll not do anything. Just like the tightener. They'll keep their money in low interest accounts, savings accounts. They're just naive. They don't even want to know if this money is being nenid by inflation. Losing purchasing power to inflation just because these people are afraid of market volatility. Actually, they are terrified, not afraid. They avoid calculated risk, which causes them to miss out on beautiful or great opportunities out there. For example, in real estate, stocks, business, they always miss out on these things. Things that will help them build wealth, and now they end up finding themselves in scarcity loop. Problem is, these people feel sort of safe because according to them, they have a small emergency fund, okay? The money that they have in their savings account. So when they see they have that amount of money, they become comfortable. Nothing is really pushing them, to grow their income or to want more. If they have debt, they lack the urgency to tackle it, because that's another problem of having money in your account and you're seeing it. That's why you told when you have, it's good to put this money in investments. Stop seeing it there. The availability and the fact that you're seeing the money can give you a false sense of you've made it and you've not. These are the same type of people who save for the sake of saving. When you ask them, why are you saving? Or what is this money for? They don't have a clear answer, like they don't have any goals. They just put the money there, no goals, nothing, leading to a life that feels restricted despite having assets. If you keep everything, like all the money you have in a savings account, you are guaranteeing a loss for yourself. And this is because inflation is a silent thief. That's the risk averse, the peaceful saver. Finally, number 5, the money ostrich. This is the avoidant. These are the people who you will find ignoring bank statements. If they have bills, they ignore these bills. They are avoidants. If they have debt, they receive a debt notice, they're ignoring it, allowing late fees, things like interest accumulation and penalties to compound. The money ostrich, the pride. They are the same people who believe a windfall, maybe something like inheritance or a lottery, if you're working or whatever, something like a bonus will come and save you, will solve all your problems automatically, rather than them addressing daily cash flow. They have a magical way of thinking. I'm saying it's magical because they're always avoiding reality. When they see bills, they avoid them. I don't know, they tend to think magically this will solve their problems. Something magical will solve their problems. And these ostriches, when finances get stressful, which that is normal, it's bound to happen, they bury their heads deeper, just like the ostrich. That's why they're called the money ostrich. They'll bury their heads huko ndani. They don't want to hear it. Someone else to come and sort that problem. So when their heads are buried deeper, they're missing out on things like deadlines, taxes, foreclosures, and lawsuits. That, if they had the guts, if they were not avoidant, they could have avoided or mitigated. These are the same people who lack systems because they refuse to look at numbers. They won't. I don't know, it's the fear of what? Avoidance are people who are afraid, right? So they are afraid to look at numbers. They are the same people who don't have a budget. They have no financial plan and no awareness of their spending leaks. If you ask them where the money disappeared to? They have no answer. They can't tell you. They can't tell you because they don't know. They're very ignorant. These are the same people who always pay the late fee tax. They are the same people who pay these overdraft fees. They are the ones who pay penalties. Ostriches pay this tax simply because they refuse to look at the due dates. Burying their heads in the sand. Which is very funny because now the rest of the body is out here. Life will just wait for you. You cannot dwell in the sand. Eventually you will have to come out, and now all these things will be waiting for you. You see, avoiding financial statements increases your anxiety rather than reducing it. But ostriches don't know that. So they hide, thinking they are reducing or running away from anxiety. But when they come back up, the anxiety will have doubled. You're not avoiding it. You're just increasing your anxiety. The longer you hide, the higher the interest accrues, which later on in life leads you to bankruptcy that you could have avoided 2 years prior or whatever. Okay? Those are the 5 money personalities. And they are the ones that determine whether you're broke or rich, or whether you're going to remain broke, or whether you're going to build wealth. Remember, at the end of the day, building wealth or having wealth is rarely about how much you make. It's more of how you behave. So this means if you're broke, your financial personality is overriding the basic math of income minus expenses. So how do you fix it? Like, how do you fix whatever problem you have depending on your personality? For the Titaners, you must invest, not just save. Okay? That's how you break out of that shell. For the Expanders, you must start to automate your savings before you even see the money. Okay? Let the money you spend, before you even spend, automate it naturally. Let it go to an investment account, to an emergency account. Let it go somewhere else. Okay? Before you see it. For the harmony seekers, you must learn boundaries. You must learn to have financial boundaries at that. As I said, saying no is a tool. A financial tool at that. When you have boundaries, they will help you preserve relationships. It is not easy to build a relationship outside here. Friends, even a spouse, it's not easy. So that's something you need to think of protecting. That's how. For the peaceful savers, you must accept calculated risks. Okay? Look at something like investing in an index fund. Bring yourself to accept that. And lastly, for the ostriches, you also must automate your finances. Because now already it looks like you don't want to deal with things. So that when you automate, the system works for you without you looking. Because you don't want to look. So automate everything. That's just the beauty of life. That every problem has a solution. Whatever money personality type you are, it's not a bad thing. Maybe that you became that because of how you grew up or the people you surround yourself with. But it doesn't mean you have to remain like that forever. You can always change. That's the beauty of life. For every problem, there's a solution. So find out what your money personality is. Okay? Once you know, don't beat yourself up so much. Just decide what you need to do about it. Okay? For your sake, for your future's sake. because you cannot continue living like that. As long as you're alive, you grow every day. You strive to become a better person tomorrow than you are today. Okay? I hope this helps someone. If you'd like to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, okay? And turn on notifications bell so that you're notified every time I upload another new video. Well, that's it for today. I'm Miss Muithathi, and I'll see you in my next video.